Hello. I'm not advertising Dr. Pepper today, it's Coke today. All takes Coke on stream, yes. Blabbermouth, Evile guitarist and singer, does Coke on Twitch. My screens are really far away from each other. I have to do this. It's like Ben's bass drums. Okay, I think enough people are in now. Right, I'm just going to leave the screen for a second, and I will go and get Joel. See you in a sec. Hello.
Hello.
How are you, Joel?
All good.
Cool.
Good
awesome.
to be here.
Right, that was a cool stream. See you later, guys. So, what have you been up to?
Like everybody else, nothing.
Nothing. Right, great stream.
Cheers, guys. See you later. No, it's just been plodding along with stuff. I mean, at the moment, I'm rehearsing to rehearse, which quite excited to do, get back together again. So yeah, just been going through sort of like album tracks and old stuff because we're getting ready to do some gigs soon, aren't we? So it's prepping for that really more than anything else.
Yeah, what's the soonest gig that we're doing? What's the first gig?
I think it's one that might be cancelled. Are we doing one in Belgium? I think might be the soonest one, or is it?
I'm not sure.
It's a European festival, isn't it? That we're penciled in, but I can't remember what exactly. Right. But then after that, it'll be Bloodstock, I believe.
Ah, yes, Bloodstock. Right, I'm just going to take a second to check the chat to see if anyone's. Oh God, that went quick. Right. Everyone just saying hi. Cool. Right. Hi. So I think we'll just dive in with some questions. So I'm just going to go on my socials and check what people asked, and just give you a few questions. Nothing too personal, I hope.
Fire away, I don't care.
Right. Let's start with some basic stuff. Cliff or Jason?
Cliff for me personally.
Why?
I think because he was just a bit more unique in his style. You know, it's like you hear Cliff playing, you know it's Cliff. Jason's amazing, absolutely solid, you know, fantastic. But I don't know, those early records when you hear Cliff playing, he's doing something that we've never done before, you know, and yeah.
I've just realised you're in full Yorkshire mode, aren't you? Doing something.
I'll tell you what, because I haven't been anywhere apart from Murfield and Dewsbury and Batley, I'm getting more Yorkshire as it goes on. So
yeah,
that's why we need to tour more.
I've noticed from doing Twitch that my Yorkshire accent disappears because I have to talk so people will understand. And I just heard as you were talking then, I'm going to do something and go, and I was like, no one's going to understand what you're saying.
There's going to be loads of question marks just in chat.
Yeah, what's he saying?
I'll have to translate for me.
Yeah. So I'm going to be uploading it to YouTube after, so there's going to be even more people who won't understand what you're saying.
I'll just write it down and you can have just like subtitles.
Yeah. Right, what's going on in the chat? For Joel, what's your favourite track of Hell Unleashed, and what's your favourite Megadeth track from Dendrophilia?
Oh, we'll do Megadeth track first.
Mm-hmm.
Hook in Mouth. I always go back to Hook in Mouth when I'm sort of like going through Spotify with Megadeth. Favourite track off Hell Unleashed? It changes all the time. As I'm playing along stuff at the moment, I'm really enjoying playing Zombie Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that it's just so easy and dirty.
My favourite song on the album isn't an Evile song.
Yeah. It's the one I'm playing at the moment, I think, and that's why I'm kind of like, you know, really enjoying it. But Gore, I really enjoy Gore, the one that we did a video for last week. Well, that came out last week.
Yeah.
Just really looking forward to playing that live, and once people know it as well, I think it'd be a good interactive track to play.
Yeah, I think it'd be very cool. No problems understanding from here in Huddersfield. Yeah, I bet there isn't. Right, what else? Chris Not Ross, would be cool to hear about Joel's bass rig. So what have you got going on your rig?
Well,
what did you previously have?
Previously, I used a Peavey Tour 700 rig, which were really good. It were awesome, but it were just bulky and heavy, and it's like taking up loads of flights of stairs and whatever else. Now guitarists like Colin, Adam, they've got Kempers now, so everything's kind of getting smaller. And I've been using a Sansamp Tech 21, the switchable version. And I've just been running that through house PAs or whatever rigs were available at festivals. Usually there's a rig you can just, select and plug into. But I'm in process. I'm buying an FR cabinet, which is basically a flat response speaker made by Headrush is this one. And it's basically just a monitor that you can just take on road with you. So you can dial in your own tone from a Sansamp, run a DI straight out of that into front of the house, and then you can control your own sort of like monitor on stage. So I'm really excited to give it a go and see what it's all about.
Yeah, that's quite similar. Sorry, go on.
I was just saying, if anybody on chat's actually had any experience of using flat response cabs, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, because I'd like to know before they actually start using it myself what people think.
Anyone? Yeah, it's kind of like the Kemper in that way, because you can DI to the front of house and they have their sound, and then you have a separate volume for your cab, and you can just have it as loud or as quiet as you want on the stage without affecting the front of house sound. It's really cool.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. So a question from me: how did you get started on bass? Like, what made you think, you know what, I don't want the 6 strings, I want the 4?
Just the sound of it. I remember being a kid, and it were Iron Maiden Killers album, and first track on side 2 is the song Killers, and it starts off with a really cool bass intro. And I remember saying to my dad, "What instrument's that? That's what I want to play." And he was like, "Oh, that's the bass." So like, right, I want to play bass. And I think by that time I'd had an acoustic guitar, or like taking acoustic lessons at school. And then that Christmas they got me like a short scale. I was 11-year-old. They got me short scale Encore bass and a little amp. And like, as soon as I plugged it in and was just playing it, and it's like, yeah, that's the sound, that's the bass sound. And so it was just complete passion for the actual sound of the instrument more than anything else. And cool. That's all I wanted to play.
So it was Steve Harris that made it.
It was Steve Harris. Yeah, pretty much.
Was it anyone else, any other bassists that really got you going?
Probably John Deacon as well at start, because I got into Queen before I got into anything else. So I can remember sort of like, intro to like Another One Bites the Dust, it'd be the same thing. I love that sound, or Under Pressure, or whatever else. And I think it was just the sound of it. I just wanted to be a bass player from the actual tone of the instrument. You know
what? I think John Deacon never gets enough praise. Like, you never hear anyone say, "Oh, John Deacon's my favorite bassist," do you? He's always like not mentioned. And he's amazing. Like, his playing on his bass lines. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like Millionaire's Waltz off like Day at the Races and things like that. What he's doing in background, you're just like, holy shit, he's killing it. And I think he got simpler as Queen went on. His bass lines got really simple, and he's sort of like more funk and soul influences that he brought to the band. He was certainly bringing groove, but he wasn't all over fretboard, to the back end. But he's great bass player.
Yeah, see, a lot of people who are big Queen fans won't even know that song, because a lot of people I know, they just know like the Under Pressures, Innuendo, all the biggish ones. So whenever you mention an album track, people are like, "What?"
It's not on Queen's Greatest Hits. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. I actually was like that when I was a kid. I remember I had Greatest Hits 1, and then I really liked it, and then my dad had Greatest Hits 2. And I didn't know the songs. I was like, nah, I'm just going back to Greatest Hits 1. Hey, Pizza, thank you for the raid. Okay, right, let's get another question. Let's go for Instagram. Favorite Evile songs to play live?
Oh.
The ones in E.
We're About to Die is always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think back to sort of like gigs, it's always ones that sort of like have audience kind of, on your side when you play them. So you interact with them a bit. So We're About to Die is always fun to play. Thrasher, of course, Enter the Grave. And Head of the Demon. I always enjoy playing that one.
Oh, yeah, that is fun.
Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
hope we put it right set.
Yeah. What song off the new album are you most looking forward to playing live?
Probably same answer as before for favourite song off album. Probably Gore. Looking forward to playing that one live. Yeah.
I actually hope we are able to put in Disorder.
Yeah.
I know no one in the chat has no idea what we're talking about, but there's a song called Disorder on the new album, and it's a weird one. It's not a straightforward song, is it?
No, far from it.
It's kind of like.
Yeah.
What would you say? How would you describe that song?
Oh no, it's ballsy. There's a lot going on as well in the background. So your first impression when you listen to it is kind of like, it's melting my face off. But when you listen to it for the second and third time, you're kind of like, oh yeah. Clever is how I describe it.
It's kind of, I'd say it's kind of like Destruction meets Death.
Absolutely.
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Double D.
Way. Right. Right, I'll ask you some questions. What was your first bass that you ever got?
It was a junior size short scale Encore bass. It was black, and it was one of them that you could get from, you'd see adverts in back of Kerrang at the time, 80 quid guitar and amp kind of setup. And then the first one that I bought, which was a proper bass, was a Peavey T40. And it weighed an absolute ton. And I was probably about 15 at times, so I hadn't finished growing. So I put it over my neck and I'd just be like, I think that's why I have a long strap. It's because it's the only way I could hold that bass.
Right. Philly from Gamma Bomb asks, was it a UFO we saw in Ramona or was it a satellite? I have no idea what he's talking about.
We'll go with UFO because it sounds more exciting.
What happened? What is this? I don't know. I might know, but I forgot.
We were stood there looking at the sky. And we did see something fly over. And because we'd all been sleep deprived and alcohol fueled and maybe other things, we convinced ourselves it was a UFO at the time. So we're going to stick with that story.
Was it just a guy on a balcony with a torch, do you think? And you just
yeah. It could have been the moon, but we were kind of like turning around. So
whoa, it's going so fast. Hey, Ricky, Steph asks Joel, can you play double bass?
I've never tried. I'd love to have a go.
You should. It's really hard.
Yeah. I imagine it's there's none of them lines there, is there, to tell you what you're doing?
No, them cheat bars.
Yeah.
I can play one thing on double bass, and it was actually on Steph's double bass that goes do 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 do. It's all just 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. It's really easy.
If I could get away with just playing everything on one string, I'd be able to play so like Peter Gunn or Another One Bites the Dust or something like that, just from positioning.
Well, that's what you do in metal,
anyway. I'll have to have a first time. Yeah.
Right. All prove that he can sort of play violin. Yeah, well, no. Do you guys plan on touring in the US, Zach? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
It's in the works, but we have no idea what's going to happen. So no one knows what's going to happen. So just keep an eye out, and hopefully we'll be back. But it won't be as extensive as it used to be. I remember in 2010 we did like 5 months in America and Canada. And can you remember any of it, Joel?
A lot of it's a blur. There's little bits that I remember, sort of like really random things. One of the things I remember actually, it came to me the other day. Me and you were doing an interview, and we were probably 3 months into a tour, and we kind of done lots of interviews. And I remember we were stood next to a vending machine, and we kind of said to each other, "Oh, we'll see if we can get all them items in vending machine into this interview." So they'd be like, "Oh, how tour's going so far?" And I'd look at it, it's. I remember Crisps Lays, their equivalent of Walkers, and and we're laying it down, and then you were kind of saying, "Yeah, we're having a bounty of people coming to see us, and we managed to get most of the way through this vending machine before.
I do not remember that at all.
Well, there you go.
That whole tour has just gone in my head. I remember snippets, like small details, like if someone says, "Oh, do you remember that gig where you left your guitar in the venue when the people started coming into the room?" I remember that, but you know.
Tell you what's weird, I was thinking about it the other day, like, because we've got, when we were on that tour, you do nothing for hours and hours.
Yeah.
Then you do like a 35, 40-minute set. And it were almost like we were practicing for current times, because I'm used to being bored and having no to do because of that tour where you just be sat there waiting to go somewhere or, waiting to go on a stage, because your days were literally nothing. Right, you're on stage for 35 minutes, then back to doing nothing for another 20 hours.
But at least back then we could actually play. Dendrophily, for Joel, funniest story you can tell about all.
There's many. I mean, just from that tour alone that we've just been talking about. I remember him once getting really, really ill, self-inflicted ill. And then we had a van where we kind of slept on top of all the equipment, and we were going through a tunnel in New York, and he needed to be sick. So he just opened the back doors of the van and just threw up. And I think we're just like your typical American family in a station wagon in the car behind, just like, cover your eyes, kids. There's vomits pouring out the back of this van.
There was actually a coach as well, full of people driving past, all looking like, and I was just going, oh, that was good.
Metal.
There was actually one time, I did this for a digital tour bus. I told a story on that site, but do you remember, I won't say where it was or what venue, but I was really drunk and I kept going in the room that you're not allowed to go in with a drink. So I kept going in, and the bouncer went up to Ben and said, "Is that your guitarist over there?" And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "Right, if he keeps ignoring the rules, I'm going to shoot him." Oh, no, it was the owner. It wasn't the bouncer. It was the owner of the venue. So Ben came to find me and said, like, "Oh, you've got to get out. The owner's going to shoot you." I was like, "Okay." And then I saw him, and then I don't remember anything else, but I remember running away from the venue. It must have got so bad that I was like, I need to leave the venue. This is pretty bad. I don't remember any fights or anything, but I had to leave.
I think that was the first time we kind of like had to follow really strict rules in venues, because everything in UK at that point, it was like, oh yeah, you're 17 or 16, don't drink, but you could all be in the same room. But in the States, there were certain rooms where if you were under a certain age, you had to be in a different room, and we just weren't used to it, were we? We were learning.
No, I'm not used to crossing the road either. I remembered I was crossing the road one time to get to a Wendy's, and I looked right, and I was like, okay, cool. Just set off, and this car flew right next to me, honking its horn because I'd crossed the road looking the wrong way. Oh well. Right, let's have a look at the chat. Do you think bowl cut is still mainstream, or would you rather go with mullet with dreadlocks?
A bowl cut mullet would be interesting.
A bullet?
With dreadlocks.
Yeah. How did you get into thrash, asks Matty Boomblatty.
The age I am. I was born in 77, started listening to metal in about 84, 85, when I was like 7, 8 year old, like picking Iron Maiden albums up. And I used to listen to Friday Rock Show. There used to be a TV show on, get this right, there used to be an actual TV show on every week that played metal, and it was called The Power Hour.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it became Raw Power, then Noisy Mothers, but it used to be on at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I saw the video for Anthrax Madhouse, and I was like, that is awesome. And I went out a couple of weeks later and just looked for the album with that song on it, and I found Spreading the Disease. And then, if you remember, the inside of Spreading the Disease is a big picture by Charlie. It's got loads of bands in it, and Nuclear Assault, and Corrosion of Conformity. and it was like, oh, who are all these bands? So it was just a case of putting the jigsaw together, finding Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and that were it. I got into thrash.
You see, that's what's missing these days. Like the fact that you got something, had a product, opened it, and there was some art in it, and it made you dig further into music. You don't have that anymore, other than like algorithms, playlists, and stuff. But I prefer the old way of not knowing much and having an album. It's better to me.
And bands thanks list as well, especially thrash bands. They all thanked each other. You know, if they did one show with them or tape traded or anything. So you'd have like, you know, Voivod thanking, you know, bands from Brazil. And I remember Napalm Death name checking Sepultura years before I heard Sepultura as well, you know. So everybody were kind of in touch and giving shout outs to other bands as well. So that was always cool.
Yeah. What is your favourite record? What would you say? I know what mine is.
Of all time?
Yeah, of all time.
Night at the Opera by Queen, just because it's the gateway into everything I listen to now and have listened to for all my life.
I was expecting something like Rush or something metal or thrash or Trouble or something.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I did that top 10 video that I think it's coming out tomorrow. And it's not a top 10 of 10 down to 1. It's just 10 albums I absolutely love. And it depends what mood you're in, doesn't it? You know, it's like, I always say Night at the Opera because it's the gateway, the one that got me into music. But there's probably other albums that I listen to more, you know, or at different times I enjoy more. So yeah, there is Trouble, self-titled Trouble album, as you mentioned. Love that. Faith No More is the real thing. Every time I listen to that, I get goosebumps still years later, you know. And,
nice.
And Raining Blood, you know, just putting that on for 30 minutes, like, you know, it's
Raining Blood.
Whatever mood you're in, you'll end up in a better mood after listening to
it. Yeah. I put Raining Blood on in my car just to drive to work, and I think I get to work quicker than I should.
Yeah.
Right. Favorite venue you've played?
Oh,
this is hard for me because I don't remember a lot of them.
So you've kind of got those venues which are iconic, like when we played Whiskey a Go Go. I remember like seeing his name. I think, you know, we played Whiskey, and it kind of gets ticked off this invisible list that you've got in your head, you know, of places. But there's probably been places that never heard of, and we just played it and it sounded great, and it's, you know, what's the one in Tilburg in Holland that we frequently play, the big hall?
O13.
That's the one. I love that venue. It's like everything about it's cool. And the Nokia Theatre in Times Square in New York as well.
That was great.
Just everything was high tech and nothing had rust on it, and it didn't smell of weed. It was just felt great.
Yeah, and the crew at the venue like gave a shit, and it was great. There's so many gigs we play where you turn up and the crew or the people who work at the venue are it's just they just don't give a shit, and like it's hard when you give a shit and they don't. It's just like, well, great, this is gonna be good. Oh, Ben's in the chat. Hey, Ben.
Oh, Ben.
Evile drummer Ben is in. Loud Machine 666. What do you want?
His name in the venue. 13. Here we go.
No, he's counting. Right, let's have a look on Facebook. Eddie White, have you seen my keys? Can't find them.
Look in your pants.
Yeah, they'll be in your pants. Dougie, Arise turned 26 today. No, it turned 30, dude. And
30.
Yeah. What would you say is the best Sepultura album?
Me personally, it'd have to be Beneath the Remains for me.
Yes.
But Arise it's there, and I always think of them as like when I think of Sepultura, I always think of sort of like Morbid Visions and Schizophrenia together. I always think of Beneath the Remains and Arise together, and I always think of Chaos and Roots together. I always think of them as double albums because
that's an interesting point actually, because my favourites always are between those pairs. Like I always think, Beneath my favourite, and then I'll listen to Arise and be like, No, actually, Arise is my favourite, and I always go between the two. James, thank you. Right. So we're rehearsing again soon, aren't we?
Hopefully.
We're trying to sort out. We haven't rehearsed since 2019, early 2019.
January 2020, we got a couple in. I'm sure we did.
Really?
Early on, yeah.
I don't remember. But yeah, we're trying to sort out some rehearsals now. It will be the first time Adam's actually played with us properly. It's quite funny because Adam joined the band and he's played with us twice, but it was at music videos and he wasn't plugged in.
You were good though.
Yeah. So, what songs do you think we should start putting in the live set for you personally? Forget what we've actually agreed, but what do you think we should include?
New stuff or just in general?
Everything.
I think Control from Above would work well. I think we could squeeze that in at some point.
Yeah.
Zombie as well, just because of that groove. Older songs. I don't know. There's a couple of tracks off Infected Nations which I never felt we'd give a real good crack at live.
Yeah.
Kind of tried them once or twice, but they were never done on any scale, like Genocide or Nusophoros or something like that.
Yeah, I remember we did Genocide when the album came out. I think we played it at the Underworld in London, and it didn't work. Like it wasn't a live song. It works really good on the album, but I think it was like that. You know, when Metallica first played Justice for All live, and they came off stage like, we're never doing that again. I think it was the same kind of thing. It was just like, yeah. But Nusophoros would be cool.
Yeah.
Ben says our last rehearsal was 1735.
What?
Dendrophilia in the chat really wants to hear War of Attrition just because he knows it's the fastest one on the album. Nusophoros is amazing.
That might be a challenge live.
Say again?
That might be a challenge live.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to playing that. Especially singing and playing it.
We'll do it one day.
Yeah, we will, definitely. Play it at 1.25 speed, oh Jesus. It will literally kill me. So let's talk about the recording of Hell Unleashed and the whole process of the songs not existing to the songs existing and how it all went for you and how you feel about the new album.
You were cool in a way because a lot of ideas that you kind of demoed and put down, they're not a million miles away from what they actual are on the album, if at all. But I think because of the homework you did, it just made it easier for the rest of us because we got to live with those songs for so long while going through what we were going through at the time, and it wasn't until February, March, really, that you said, let's record an album, let's get them down. And we kind of went, do you know what? Yeah, let's. And that use of technology and sending things back and forward and having to check this out, what do you think of that? And it was a new way of working for us, really, because we've always kind of like got into a rehearsal room and tried a riff and it's been sent through late. So doing it remotely really worked for us, I think. It really worked for us indeed.
Yeah. How about getting into the studio and the whole actually making the album? How did you feel about, and also how it came out? How do you feel?
Oh, amazing! Just having that, it almost felt like we managed to steal a window of time in the studio that we used.
Yeah.
And with Chris, we're almost like we kind of got in there at the right time. So there were always a sense of urgency about it as well, So going in, seeing what we had to work with, meeting Chris, then recording the album, and how it sounds when you come out of it, it's just like, it's mind blowing. He's like, fucking hell, we did it. It's a massive pat on the back, and I can't wait for people to hear it. That's the thing now. It's a month till people can hear the full thing, and it's exciting.
It is.
Just over a month and a few days, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually thought it was months. I'm so used to the album being so far away that I forgot that it was in April. that's this next month. Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Let's just have a look at the chat. Is Hell Unleashed your most proud album so far, Joel?
I think it is. Yeah, I was very proud of Serpents when we did that, just for the fact that it was the first album I were involved with, and worked with you guys on after that tour. But this one, it's just got more of a sense of purpose. It's almost like Hell Unleashed is Evile wrapped up in a little box, and there you go. And I think people when they hear it, they'll know exactly what I mean by that. They'll go, yeah, this is Evile.
Yeah, I think I agree. I know every band does it, and I know everyone when bands say this think, oh, it's just because they have a new album out. But it's the first album that we've done that I'm 100% really happy about, and I have a really good feeling about it. I've had a good feeling about the other albums, but this is the first one that's made me think, fuck, like there's something really cool about this album. And like you said, I just can't wait for people to hear it, because it's so frustrating having those songs just sat there like, I wish everyone could hear this.
It's like when we're talking about songs that haven't been released yet, and it's like, I'm a bit hesitant to kind of talk anymore, because I like things to be a surprise for people, like no spoiler. So when you were asking me exactly what I thought about Disorder, I'm like, I don't want to use that word, because I want that to be a surprise for people. Like, so.
I mean, we're even in G sharp in Disorder for a main part, and that's not like Evile. It's always just E. Well, I mean, tuned down, whatever,
Yeah.
Are we going to hear any other songs before the album comes out, Danny boy? You might. You just might. You just might. Right. Singles are sonically heavier for sure. Yeah, I think the thing about the new songs, I mean, Hell Unleashed came out, and it's the only song on the album that is like, it's just straightforward, punch you in the face, thank you, goodbye. Gore is a bit more, but all the other songs on the album have so many different facets to them, but that you have to hear them all to appreciate even the two songs that have come out. Even if you do appreciate them, it's just, I spent a lot of time, well, we all spent a lot of time making sure the song order is how it should be, and it just makes so much sense. And everyone who's going to listen to it, promise us that you listen to it in order and not this stupid shuffle or playlist. Don't do that.
Do you ever notice on people's Spotify, like bands, their albums tracks sort of like go in an angle like this? So the first album's always the most played, and then it goes down like an upside down triangle. And it's like, I remember us talking about putting Hell Unleashed where it is on the album.
Yeah.
You can't put the title track at the end of the album, and be like, no, that's Slayer did it with Rain in Blood, so if they can do it, we can do it, So. Yeah.
Hi, Jade. Thank you for the raid. Going to get a shout out for Jade. She's just started streaming on Twitch, and it'll help her out. Blah, blah, blah. What was I saying? Yeah, I remember the label said, "Are you sure you want to put the title track last?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Okay."
Am I right in thinking Megadeth did it on Rust in Peace as well? That's the last track on the album, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I think there's
yeah.
Rain in Blood did Raining Blood.
Yeah.
Hell Unleashed. Oh no, it wasn't even Slayer that made me think of it. There's another album that has the title track last. I can't remember. It's gone. Right. Natalie asks, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yeah.
Why?
Yes, it is.
I don't think it's a sandwich.
Because you can buy a packet of hot dogs, so you put in the named article in bread. So it's a hot dog sandwich.
But
if you bought a hot dog with out bread, it's just a hot dog still.
But what about a hot dog that the bread is just cut into and it's still one piece and it's not two?
That's a hot dog butty.
Hot dog butty. Oh, don't even start with that word. There'll be arguments all over, like butty or bap or roll. I remember
tea cake.
Yeah, tea cake. I moved from Huddersfield over to Lancashire, And I walked into a shop and said, I don't know if anyone knows, but in Yorkshire you say chip butty, which is like a sandwich with chips in it, which is like on a tea cake or a bap. It's basically a bread sandwich with chips in. So I went over to Lancashire and said, can I get a chip butty? They were like, a what? I said, what do you call it over here? She said, call what? I said, oh, chips in bread. Chip muffin.
What?
Yeah, sausage muffin. It's not a muffin, but they say muffin.
No, wrong.
No. But I have to do it when I go in places. I'm like, can I have a sausage muffin? Like, yeah, sure.
I like to have to do all the actions as well. Have you got any bread? Can you put some chips in it?
Is Joel the vegetarian qualified to talk about meat-filled sandwich items? That's a good point.
It is a good point. Yeah. So the answer is, I don't care whether it's called a hot dog or a sandwich.
Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah. Do you remember a time we were somewhere in America? We stopped at a service station. It wasn't even a service station. It was like a cafe or diner in the middle of nowhere. It was literally in a desert, and there was a diner. And we stopped in there just because we were starving. And we all ordered food, and you ordered a salad. And the woman came out and said, there's your steak, there's your blah, blah, blah. And she went, here's your salad. Boring. And walked off.
I think she'd asked me about 4 times if I wanted any chicken on it. I was like, no, meat. I just want
Are you sure?
plain salad, bit of cheese or whatever. And she just couldn't get it. Just like, do you want beef in it instead? No. Fish? No, just salad. And I think I blew her mind.
Ben says that was Route 66.
It was Route 66.
It was Route 66, yeah. See, I remember stuff like that. I don't remember playing to 2,000 people in New York, but I remember salad.
He remembers my salad. Nobody else's salad.
Yeah, just your boring one. Right. Another one from Natalie. How many chickens would it take to kill a lion? Right, let's do some proper questions.
Yeah, a lot.
We've had that question. What approach was different, if anything, in regards to your playing or tone on the new record? From Dougie.
More percussive, I think, because of the style of music that it is. It's a bit heavier. It's a bit death metal influenced. There's a lot of connection with what Ben does. There's lots of sort of like just rhythmic tone, chunky, I think is the right word.
We say chunky here with an O.
Chunky. Yeah, beefy, chunky, and just tight as it can be with Ben. There's lots of little stabby bits, very, I don't know, almost Cannibal Corpse little bits in there, and little rhythmic things. So,
I actually don't. Yeah. I think that wasn't fully on purpose as well, because Cannibal Corpse stabs are so ingrained in me that, probably and Ben, that we just naturally did them. Right. There's so many stupid questions that I have to filter through them. There's even one from. Have you seen the one from Hannah, your missus?
No, go on. What's what she said?
What is that smell? Where did it come from? And why did you do it?
Because she wanted your tea.
It's so Yorkshire. For you. It's so Yorkshire. That's that for me. Right. So, did anyone who isn't a musician influence you in music? Like your parents, were they musical?
No, not musical. My dad were more a massive music fan, so he gave me the biggest thing that anybody could, and that's he took me to gigs, and he took me to see Queen in 1984 when I was a little kid. I was only 7. Wow. And that was the first gig I went to, and then he took me to see Bruce Springsteen in 85, and then I think we saw Maiden in 86 or somewhere in time. So.
What?
And then
I had no idea. I didn't know you'd seen all these gigs.
I just went as a little kid, that big thing that my mum and dad had phoned up, whatever Cavendish Travel or whoever sent tickets at the time, and it were under 10s allowed. And yeah, no problem, right? We'll buy a ticket. So I just went to loads of gigs as a little kid, and then that just being a fan of music, and there were always music playing in house. Stereo were on more than TV in our house, which was really
great.
cool. So
what was Freddie like live?
Do you know what? I was only 7-year-old, and I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh, really?
I can remember where in the arena we were sat, we were kind of like up on the side. The stage were there to the left. And then all lights went down, and it was the Works tour, and it started off with that Machines, Mushmorph thing. And then they came on and they kicked straight in to tear it up. And I just remember thinking, are they robots? I couldn't believe my 7-year-old brain couldn't understand that it were really them. I thought it was like they've got robots on stage to pretend to be Queen. They're that famous.
Queen robots.
And then they did like A Hard Life and, all the classics. But I actually found a copy of it on YouTube. Someone's got the audio bootleg of the gig. And they come on and they do tear it up, just as I remember in my memory. But Freddie's voice is cracked. He's breaking up. He's lost his mix or whatever. But my brain can't remember any of that. It was just God coming on stage, singing perfectly, and it was amazing. So.
Wow, I'm so jealous. I remember it happened to me quite a lot growing up that I'd get into some music, and then I'd find out that person died. So I got into Queen young, and I said to my dad, "Can we go and see Queen?" And my dad was like, "Freddie Mercury just died." So, oh. And then I got into Nirvana, like 90s. I was like, Nirvana are great. Dad, can we go and see Nirvana? Kurt Cobain just died. It's like, oh, I'm going to stop listening to bands now. I'm killing them all.
Just stop telling your dad that you want to go see someone. Yes.
Yalmers, Joel, do you have any pre-show ritual you do before you play?
Not rituals as such, just warm up. I've been caught out a few times when I haven't warmed up properly, and we come on and you open with a fast song and you're like, shit, we can't do it. But no, not rituals.
No?
A beer.
That's pretty metal.
Yeah. Just the one.
Ben says, can we go and see Mozart? So Ben Mozart died in I think it was 1680.
You know that at least.
Hokumu Blitzkrieg, thank you so much for the donation. Get yourself some Easter eggs or something. Brilliant, thank you. Right, let's have a look. We've got some more questions coming through. We've had that. What? Does your lower back hurt from the weight suspended from the front of your lower body?
Yes.
Right. What is the one place that you want to play in the world that Evile hasn't?
South America.
Yeah.
I'd love to go down there.
Yeah, I think that's the one place we always get messages for, just saying, please come.
Yeah.
It's like, I
remember talking to guys in Dr. Living Dead.
Yeah.
And they were saying when they went down there, the just number of people were just like asking about Evile and if you played with Evile, and I don't think you realise, that there's people that far away that listen to what we've done, and do really want to see us. So one day it'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think South America's definitely on my list. We get so many messages. We get a lot from Brazil, Mexico, and is Argentina there? My geography is not great.
It is all
It
this.
is, yes. Right. Question for both. Something very generic. What non-thrash song do you think would work as a thrash song? This is a really good question. What do you think?
Aqualung by Jethro Tull.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah. It's even got the middle bit that's acoustic, but you could kind of whittle it up a little bit and master of puppets it made.
Yeah. I think one thing we talked about, and one thing Matt wanted to do ages ago, was Innuendo by Queen, because it's a very, very, it's a metal song in a way. It's quite evil, and I think it could work. I think we should do that at some point.
Yeah.
Do a metal cover of Innuendo. It obviously won't be thrash, because you can't really thrash it up without killing what the song is, I don't think. Dougie, greatest song ever written to me. Cool. Good call. Right. I'm just going to check the chat now. If anyone has any questions...
It's Sin by Pet Shop Boys, yeah. That would work as well.
What's that? Oh, It's a Sin by Pet Shop Boys. Hold on.
It's a Sin by Pet Shop Boys. It would work.
Well, like... That could be cool. I always have to hear the drums if I'm thinking about writing a song or something. I always think what kind of beat could be behind it. That's all I do to write a song. I go or night, Alex. Ben, do you have any serious questions for Joel? Sabotage by Beastie Boys, yeah, that'd be cool. But
yeah,
Korn and I think Corey Taylor did it live, and it was just kind of cringe to me. But it might have been because they did it. I have no problem with them, by the way. I just did not like that. Come on, Ben. Let's give the best question of the stream. He's put on the spot now. He can't think of anything.
I was thinking something absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Corey Taylor's acoustic sets are awesome. Yes, they are. I've seen one, and yeah, I was actually blown away. I wasn't expecting what I saw. I know he's good, but yeah, very cool. That's one of my regrets, actually. I got asked to tech for Corey Taylor at Sonisphere, and I feel really bad for it because it was just after Mike passed away, and I went down to the tent to help out and saw Corey, and I said, "Oh, hi, Corey, I'm teching for you." And he said, "Oh, yeah, I got someone else, but thank you so much for coming down." And I was like, "Oh, no problem." And I don't know why, but I said to him, because I think Paul Gray just passed away as well, and I said, "I just want to say I'm really sorry to hear about Paul and blah, blah." And I saw his face like drop, and it was just before he was going on stage, and I was just like, fuck, why did I do that? And he the second after he spoke to me, he went to go on stage and play, and I was just like, fuck, you idiot. But maybe it made him play a bit better. Who knows? But yeah.
You'll never know.
That is a regret of mine. Did Ben ask a question? Has Ben just gone? Okay. Ben, which was the worst gig you ever saw of the best band you really liked, and why?
Oh. He's put me on spot there, has Ben. Worst gig you ever saw of the best band you really liked, and why? I'm going to really upset Ben here, because one of the worst bands I've ever seen live was Dokken, and I know he loves Dokken. They opened up for AC/DC in '88, and Don Dokken, he was doing like he was throwing his mic stand up in air and not catching it, and George Lynch was doing that thing where he swings his guitar around and it wasn't quite getting back there. So I'm really sorry, Ben, but yeah, Dokken was just terrible like that.
Sorry, Ben. George Lynch is amazing though.
Oh, fantastic playing. They're a great band, the Dokken, just not that night.
Yeah, maybe that was the one night they just had like an off day or something. I'm just going to take a second to be selfish and say, if you're on Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to my channel for free. Please join my socials. We have a Discord. Yeah, so check it all out. The links are coming up in the chat. And also, I guess we should promote that album thing we're doing. Probably should have done that
30th
first.
of April, is it? 30th of April, is it coming out? Something like that.
You said 30th with a T. Wow. 30th of April. That's not Yorkshire. Yeah, new Evile album, Hell Unleashed, out 30th of April on Napalm Records. There's a link there. You can pre-order it. If you are in the UK, you get free UK shipping from iSaw Merch. If you're not in UK, you don't. So yeah, check out the links and all that. We have a new video out called Gore, which has Brian Posehn, the metal comedian, on backing vocals. And honestly, it wasn't supposed to be a big thing. I just emailed Brian and asked if he'd like to do it, and he did it. And then the label found out, and obviously they're a label, they have to make it a news item. And it was like, featuring Brian Posehn, and everyone's like, where's Brian? I can't see him in the video. We couldn't get him for the video. I can't hear him. He's on backing vocals. So it wasn't a thing. It was just, oh, Brian, do you want to do this? Yeah, cool. Right. Ricky has asked, what gear did you use in the studio, Joel? And if so, how does it differ from your live rig?
Studio gear is always different. Every time we've recorded, we've always kind of used what the engineers pointed us in the direction of. And it's usually plugins, isn't it? I've got to be honest with you, these days, it is just, kind of, getting into, and then dialing in a pre-programmed tone and tweaking it. And then it's my job to replicate that tone live, which with the Sans amp, you can.
Yeah, I think it was actually a mixture of the DI and the plugin, if I remember correctly.
Oh, right. So you put the, right, yeah.
I can't remember very well, but I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great on this album because it is just one chunky bass tone, whereas on like previous albums we've kind of mixed effects in with bass track quite a lot, especially we did it on Serpent's Teeth and Skull, like a lot of effects on there. But this one, it's just boom, that's the tone, that's what you get.
Yeah, I think we purposely looked for a harsh sound on every single thing. So on the drums, even when Ben was doing the drums nothing was touched, it was just recording the drums. This sounded really heavy and just evil. Like before, it'd be like, right, we need to like tweak a few things there. But even we were in Andy Sneap's studio and Chris was producing. Even Andy, when the drums were getting recorded, said, "Jesus Christ, they sound good. What have you done to them?" And Chris was like, "Nothing yet. Ben's just played that." And he was like, "Oh." Really good sound. I mean, the guitars, that we wanted more of like not a chainsaw sound, but we wanted that grit, that evil, like, and a bit of that on the bass as well. So that's what you get.
It's the tightness as well, isn't it? That's what makes it really jump out when you're listening to it. Everything's just precision tight, and it's great. It's knocks your head off.
Yeah, I can't wait for everyone to hear it. I really can't. Can you elaborate on what you said regarding slightly changing tempos during a song? Yeah. So, the basic premise is I always start a song with a riff, and I'll find the tempo for that riff. But there's things that happen leading up to sections and coming out of sections that if you have the same tempo going through the whole transition, it just sounds robotic and not fake, but it sounds just flat. So a really good example is if you listen to Holier Than Thou by Metallica, you know the middle bit that goes tap along to the tempo. They go from the build up, and the heavy riff drops by something like 40 BPM. I'm not joking, it really drops, but you don't notice because it's done so well. So next time you're listening to it, just tap along and you will notice they completely drop it. Oh, what did I say? Oh, it's Through the Never. Not Holier Than Thou. Through the Never. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Metallica Master.
Um,
Joel, have you got any questions for Ben in the chat?
What's Ben looking forward to most playing?
Yeah, come on, Ben. What are you looking forward to playing? Oh, I should have the chat on the screen, but oh well.
You can always read it out.
Same thing happens in Afraid to Shoot Strangers, if I remember right. Ah, yeah, possibly.
The Maiden song, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the tempo thing is really worth playing around with. I know a lot of Metallica's songs don't stick with the same tempo all the way through, even the verses. The verses drop and change. And no, that's not Lars. That's not Lars's playing. It's literally to click tracks. I actually remember hearing a story that the Black Album by Metallica, they finished recording everything and they took it to get mastered and they forgot to take the click track off and had to go all the way back and get it without clicks.
After spending all that money as well.
Wow. Yeah. Ben, it's going to have to be either Disorder or Incarcerated. Those end bits, oofed. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, there's something about Disorder that keeps making me go back to that song. Like, you know, it's always like Gore and other ones are like, oh, it's going to be so fun. But Disorder's the one that always makes me think that's so cool. And yeah. I'm trying not to toot our own horns here, but it's just the Evile logo's above us, so what else are we going to talk about?
I think as well, more I'm playing along with them, sort of like in this downtime, just getting everything together. You start picking favourites, don't you? Once you've played one lots of times and you start, I'll work on something else. Oh, I really want to do this live. This would be great first in set or whatever. And yeah, you can't help thinking about it. It's great.
Yeah. I'm still wondering what we should do live, because I kind of don't like it when bands come out and they have a new album out and their set is completely full of new songs, and even the first song they play is the first song on the album, and I don't know what the balance is, because A, we're technically a new band, and B, it's a different sound in a way. So like, are we allowed to do more new ones or are we not? I don't know. What does everyone in the chat think? Like, would it be a few more new songs because it's a new band, or play mostly old classics? I don't know. Have you ever tried Fishman pickups? Yes, they are very good, but I'm not really a fan of active pickups. I prefer passive. Ben, going back to tempo changes, when I was rehearsing the tracks before the studio, the tempo jump out of the middle of Paralyzed into the solo killed me. Hold on.
I remember Ben telling me about this, actually.
Right, hold on. I need to... The solo... Yes, I know exactly what you mean. I'm really sorry about that. In fact, me and Ben got together before we went to the studio and went through notes on songs, and I think that was one of the things, wasn't it, Ben? Something very generic says 40% new, 60% classic. I'd say that's fair. Yeah. Depends on how many classics you have that people are hoping to hear versus what you want to show people. I mean, the songs that we have to play are Enter the Grave, Thrasher, We Are About to Die, Infected Nation, Cult, In Memoriam, In Dreams of Terror, Underworld, Words of the Dead, Head of the Demon. I think them those we have to play. If we don't play those ones, it wouldn't be right, I think.
I always think as well, it's like, even though like we've been going a few years, there might be people coming to see us that have never seen us before as well.
Yeah.
And you kind of like, and you've got this, especially what just finished album number 5. It's a lot of songs, it's 50 plus songs, that's there in the Evile catalogue now, to pick and choose from. So one thing I do really dislike, and the one of my favourite bands is Anthrax. The last few times I've been to see it, they just have this same set list.
Yeah.
And it always includes Antisocial and Got the Time and
Indians.
I I don't want to see Anthrax do Antisocial ever again, you know, because it's just.
But then again, like you said,
you could be playing live or whatever. You know,
it could be someone who's never seen them before who would really benefit from hearing that live. So you know,
exactly that. So,
Hokumu Blitzkrieg, what's your clean voice for In Memoriam, or what's it like? It's pretty much the same. I'm an okay singer, and there's this misconception because of the new Evile stuff. Everyone thinks I'm going to be doing the old Evile stuff with this harsh vocal. I'm going to do all the old songs exactly how Matt did them. But, you know, Enter the Grave, Matt's not singing notes, he's just shouting. The In Memoriam, in Tomb, he's singing notes, he's singing melodies, I'll do that as well. I can actually sing clean, it's just the new stuff did not call for melodic or clean singing. We tried it. It sounded shit. What's Ben said? Hold on. Plaque to end all plaque. That was a pun for any dentist Evile fans out there. Right. Paw617. Going in a different direction. Play Hell Unleashed all the way through. Clean slate. Blow everyone away with force of the new sound. Plus the singing originates with you on the new ones. Yeah, I understand that. I get that, but I think that's a bit too risky. A lot of people won't be a fan of that because a lot of people are fans of the Matt Evile. And it'd feel like a bit of a big, too much of an FU to people. I think we need to play the... imagine the backlash of not playing Thrasher, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Thrasher is really high as well. I didn't realise how high Matt sang on that. It's in, like, A flat. Yeah, it's pretty high. It's not Halford high, but, you know. Yeah, just a thought. Yeah, I do want... It would be cool to do all of Hell Unleashed, but I think we're old school. We don't want to go out there with the whole album straight away. It's like we'd rather have the album settle and people get used to it for a few years and, you know, maybe like a 5-year anniversary or 10-year anniversary to do the whole thing.
Plus, we've been away for that long as well. You know, we haven't played the old songs for ages, you know, in a long time. So, you know, going back out there and gigging when we can, you know, it's got to be across the board, I think.
Yeah. Dougie says, would you play Descent into Madness live? Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
We did actually play it live for a while because I remember you doing the bass solo at the end.
So
we did used to do it.
Bring out my wah pedal and I had an Electro Harmonix Big Muff as well, which I had to rig up. So we're always like, we've been dressing up before, and like, we're doing Descent tonight. And like, yeah. So I'd have to set up 4 extra pedals just to do that song.
I just wouldn't bother. I'd just get the sound guy to turn the bass up. With Gene Hoglan covering Ben's parts, who would you and Joel pick to cover your parts? That sounds really rude. What do you reckon, Joel?
I don't know. I think having someone like Billy Sheehan or Les Claypool playing something I'd originally put down would be a massive ego boost.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think for me, I don't know because like Alex Skolnick is up there in my guitarists. Jeff Waters, Annihilator. Kirk Hammett would be cool. Yeah, I think those. Hannah. So Joel's Mrs. Hannah has asked of Joel, why do you whisper all and Ben's names while we make love? Not mad, just wondered.
It must be a sleepwalking thing.
A sleep what?
A sleepwalking.
Walking, okay.
If she's not busy, was you going to get me a glass of wine?
Yeah, Hannah, if you're watching, can you bring Joel a glass of wine? Right, I'm just... Oh, there was a question. I can't find it now, but I'm pretty sure it was Geddy Lee or Les Claypool.
Oh. Without Geddy Lee, there'd be no Les Claypool, because I know he's a massive Geddy Lee Rush fan. So I'm going to have to go with Geddy on that one.
Nice. But I know you are a huge Rush fan, right?
Yeah.
So talk me through your love of Rush.
I got into them quite late compared to what I got into other bands. I think I'd heard like Spirit of the Radio and Tom Sawyer. But at the time I heard them, they weren't heavy enough. Does that make sense? I was still down the Metallica, Slayer route. And Kirklees Libraries, which is our local council, they used to rent CDs out. I don't know if they still do. And I think you paid 30 pence and you got it for a week. And they had a box set in the local one in Batley, which was Rush Chronicles. And I remember thinking, 30 pence, I'll give them another go, So I took up this double album and I just listened to it on repeat for 3 or 4 days. And then penny dropped, something happened now, and I was like, I get it. I fully get it now, So, I believe this is. I've got a bottle of wine. Just for talking about Rush. Thank you. Cheers, everyone. So yeah, I kind of just dove into listening to loads of Rush, and penny dropped. I got it, and then I just went and bought every single album. Just went through their entire back catalogue, and I didn't realise how different 1974 Rush was compared to 1977 Rush. It's like completely two different bands, and their 80s stuff with all the synths and everything like that. And I just think it's the same three guys who've made all this great music, and it changes and it's different. And
I think I need to talk to you more about Rush, because I do like Rush, but I haven't delved into Rush. I know the big songs, but I don't know anything else. So actually, James G in the chat has just asked, what is your favourite Rush album? His is Hemispheres.
Do you know what? That's in my top 3, definitely. Hemispheres I love just for the fact that it's just completely out there. They just push themselves to the max. But the album that I love the most by them is Counterparts, which is one of their early 90s ones. And it was kind of Rush coming back out of the 80s synth and getting back to being a great power trio again. And it's just got some awesome songs on it as an album. And that's the one I kind of go back to a lot. And of course, 2112, that album from start to finish is just amazing. And Moving Pictures.
There's a documentary on Rush, isn't there? That I remember you telling me to watch it, but I still haven't watched it.
Watch it. It's brilliant.
What's it
it's
called?
Beyond the Lighted Stage. Beyond the Lighted Stage.
Right.
And it's made by Sam Dunn, who did the Metal Evolution DVD. So he's a great documentary filmmaker, and how he does it with Rush and how he presents them is just, it's amazing. You can tell he's a fan.
Nice. Yeah, I still can't believe Geddy's vocals. I know what Geddy's vocals are, but since becoming the singer of Evile and learning vocals and hearing Geddy singing and trying to understand doing that, it's ridiculous. Like how high he could sing. I don't know if he can do it anymore, that really high stuff, but it's ridiculous.
That's the sort of last tour they did before they unfortunately what happened to Neil. He was still there. He was almost there. But the thing I remember about Geddy Lee as well, he's doing that, and he's playing bass, and he's playing keyboards, and he's playing Taurus pedals with his feet all at the same time.
Yes.
And once you throw that into the mix, it's kind of like, fucking hell, this is a talented dude,
Yeah, it's too much. He's like one of those musicians that make me just think, no.
I do get it with people. I have a lot of people who just don't get Rush, and a lot of it's down to Geddy's vocal.
Yeah,
just that high shrill, and I understand that. If you don't like it,
I get that with I've had friends listen to AC/DC and go, I don't like the singer. Same with Megadeth, I don't like the singer. But yeah, it has to click, I think, the Rush thing.
Yeah.
Right. What's going on in the chat? Also, hello to
Dewsbury Squad.
Dewsbury what?
Florey's streaming has put Dewsbury Squad metal horns. Big shout out to Dewsbury.
Like I almost said Ding Diamond. King Diamond, yeah, that's a very acquired taste. Joel, favourite death album from Yalmaz?
Ooh. Leprosy.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's almost my favourite. My favourite is Scream Bloody Gore. Everyone I tell that to who's a death fan think like, why? Like, am I not allowed to like that album? There's just something about the first album that's just really evil and cool to me. What about Leprosy makes it your favourite album?
It's the old Iron Maiden thing. Death, I think, are one of those bands. The first album you hear by them is your favourite forever. And I think it applies with Maiden, your introduction. And first time I heard Leprosy, I was a kid with at school with a guy called Mike Housen, and he was into more sort of like, he introduced me to like more death metal stuff, and he kind of introduced me to Creator actually. And I remember once I said to him, I said, there's a tape there, a blank tape, take me some of your heavy stuff that you've got. And he just put on one side the entire Leprosy album, and I was like, oh, that's done it for me.
Yeah. Well, the Maiden logic doesn't work for me because my first Maiden album was Fear of the Dark. And it does in a way because my favourite song by Maiden is Fear of the Dark, but it's definitely not my favourite album.
I think I'm applying it to sort of like anything pre-88.
Yeah, Because I think my favourite is Power Slave. I always come back to that.
Mine too.
Yeah. Right. For Joel, Dendrophilia asks, favourite Annihilator album and song?
Controversial, this one, but I love Set the World on Fire as an album.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Like, what song and why?
Brain Dance. I remember seeing footage of him playing it live, and it was Mike Mangini.
Yeah.
And the clicks in between the intro he was doing while he was playing live.
Yeah.
So like, and it was just like, just mesmerised at his drumming ability, and it's stupid, and I like Annihilator stupid.
Yeah. Set the World on Fire is, I know it was such a departure of the sound, and he was going for that Van Halen kind of thing, but it's such an overlooked album in terms of Annihilator because everyone says like Alice in Hell, Neverland, that's all you need to hear. But there's so much good stuff on Set the World on Fire, and every single Annihilator album has something amazing on it. Like, Jeff's great.
That album, not directly, but it taught me a valuable lesson in that album. Do you remember Q magazine that used to come out? It was like it was a bit aloof, but they cover metal and rock in there.
Yeah.
And I remember when that album came out, they gave it a 1-star review. And the reviewer, I can't remember who it was, but he just ripped it apart. And it's like, nobody needs to hear music like this in, but in 93, 94 it came out, around that time.
Really?
And the review was basically saying how good Nirvana and Soundgarden were, and how obsolete and shit Annihilator. And he didn't say anything about the album at all. And I remember just thinking, reviews aren't always good, are they? And it was kind of my introduction into kind of, you don't have to believe what you read or someone's opinion on it, So
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I've stopped reading reviews now of anything. Like, when me and Matt talk, we talk about films mainly. And I'll be like, oh, Matt, I saw so-and-so film. You're like, yeah, it's shit, isn't it? And I'm like, no, I really liked it. He's like, oh, I thought it was shit. So, like, if I'd have asked Matt before that, he'd have said, don't even bother. I think me and Matt are quite polar opposites in some films. It's quite funny. In fact, yeah, talking about film.
Say
again?
Sorry, I was just saying about, like, opinions. And I've got to a point in my life, and I do it with social media. If I don't like something, I don't bother telling anybody I don't like it. I'd rather tell somebody that this is good,
right,
than telling somebody something shit. If someone asks me, I'll just say it's not for me. It's not for me, and that's because we all like different stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm getting to that point, but I'm still at the point where I can be like, that's shit. So, one thing that Evile does a lot of is watch films, and we obviously we have songs about films. What is your favorite genre of film, and what is your favorite film?
My favorite genre is definitely old horror films. Anything from sort of like the start of film, as an entertainment medium, right up till early 90s. That's my favorite window of, the evolving from Universal monsters to the Hammer House of horrors to the low budget slashers at early 80s. Love them all. And I'm just trying to watch every one. There's so many out there.
Yeah.
But I'll watch anything. I'll give anything a go. It's always sort of like a thing that we do on an evening. It's like, what do you want to do tonight? Especially in lockdown. And I'll just find a really obscure horror film. And my missus, bless her, she has to put up with some right shit. It's like, I want to watch this. Like, all right, go on. But despite liking all those horror films, the scariest film I've ever seen is David Lynch's The Elephant Man. That terrified me when I was a kid. Just the way it was shot.
How old were you when you saw it?
Oh, probably about 8 or 9.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. I was like, and the fact that he was real, and he had to live through that horrible deformity, and in that time, Victorian England, it must have been bloody horrible for the guy.
Yeah.
And, even when I watch it now, I remember how I felt as a kid watching it, which was disgusted.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel bad now as an adult for feeling disgusted, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It would have been worse to see Eraserhead when you were 7 or 8, I think.
I think about 22 when I finally saw that one.
Yeah, I was old enough to watch it, I think. That's actually one of the scariest films I saw, Eraserhead, because I just did not understand what was going on. Have you met anyone, musician or like actor or anything, that you are a huge fan of and been starstruck and anything like that?
Yeah, I met Steve Harris backstage at Download. I think it was the first ever Download festival, actually, the 2002 or 2003. And I was walking through with a mate of mine, Ainsley, and he just went, Steve fucking Harris. I'm like, oh, it is. And he literally said, I've got my camera. This is before we all had cameras on our phones. He was just like, I've got my camera. And he could just asking for a photo. So I went up and I was like, Steve, do you mind if I have a photo? And he's like, no. And I met him for like 4 seconds. And the photo that my mate took, it makes it look like we've been buddies for ages. Like me and Steve Harris are just like, hey. And it's just perfect. And once photo taken, I was like, oh, thanks very much. It's a huge influence. And they were like, oh, great. Thanks for stopping to talk to me. And I was like, bye.
I vaguely remember a time when me and you were in the same place as Steve Harris. Was that the same time or was that a different time?
No, that was a few years before.
Right, okay.
I think we did see him strolling around, but I met Scott Ian as well, and I'm a huge Anthrax fan, but he kind of just blew me off. He's like, nah, whatever, don't really want to meet you. No,
yeah.
No, all right.
Yeah, I got that as well. Oh, well. Yeah, because I remember seeing Steve Harris and thinking, oh, holy shit. And I do this thing where if I see someone like that, I don't dare say hi to them or anything. It's happened with Steve Harris, Lemmy, Slash, Max Cavalera. I see them and just go, no.
I did speak to Lemmy once, actually. I went to see them in Leeds. And a friend of mine's band, who were opening for him. And we had passes. And we were on like a balcony. And the toilet for the like people who were on the balcony was like down this corridor. And we had, like I said, my mate's band were opening for a Motorhead. And I walked down this corridor. And I just happened to look to my left as we're looking for the toilet, and Lemmy's there in his snakeskin boots, and he sees me in the doorway, and he was like, "You all right, lad?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Just walked yep. So yeah, he did say all right to me. But, yeah. I've always been saying I've been too nervous to meet people, even when I was a kid. I was never one of those that hang around after a gig to get autographs or a photo taken. I just wanted to see the gig. Brilliant, you're a great band. I'm off home now, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. My Lemmy story is a lot less funnier than that. So I think when we played Hellfest, I went to the side of the stage where Motorhead were playing, and Motorhead finished. Oh, Ben's actually saying, I shook Lemmy's hand as we were going to the stage at Hellfest, and Motorhead were coming off stage having already played.
Yeah.
So Ben shook Lemmy's hand. I think I was closer up the ramp, and I saw Lemmy walking towards exactly where I was stood. And the closer he got, I just went. I didn't want to say anything. He just it was so intimidating. I know he's a cool guy, but it was so intimidating. It was just like, holy shit, that's Lemmy.
The same weekend, actually, me and Ben were side stage watching Twisted Sister. And I think it was like the time when Twisted Sister, and they hadn't done anything for years, and they played Hellfest. And me and Ben were side stage, and Dee Snider, he was like, they were doing their intro, and it was the opening song off Come Out and Play, which starts with kind of like some noises from the Warriors movie. And then there's this vocal, Twisted Sister, come out and play. And we actually looked, and Dee Snider was singing the intro live behind the curtain.
Oh, okay.
Which was could have quite easily put it on a MP3 or a tape, but he's actually singing it live. And we watched their entire set, and I remember Dee Snider running over to me and Ben periodically and just, great, like the 7-year-old me would have just exploded at the idea that Dee Snider was egging me on to rock.
To rock. I think the famousest person I met was Christopher Lee. I met him twice. The second time I didn't speak to him. So the first time I went to a signing in London for the band Rhapsody. So if anyone who knows, it was Luca Turilli, Alex Staropoli, and Fabio Leon, 3 members of Rhapsody. But Christopher Lee was there as well because he narrated their newest album. He did some epic power metal talking on it, and it was signing separately. And before we met Christopher Lee, we were told you can't talk about Dracula, you can't ask about blah blah blah. There were all these rules, and I think he had a film out called, I think it was Gina or something. I can't remember. So I went up to get my Rhapsody album signed by him. And I was how old was I? I was maybe 19 or something, or 20. And he said, I can't do his voice because it's really low and awesome and booming, but he said, have you seen Gina? And I said, no, I haven't. And he just went, you will. And I, okay. But I still haven't. I guess I should. I should see Gina just because he said I will. And the other time was, do you remember the Golden Gods, the Metal Hammer Awards? The one that Christopher Lee was at?
He was there, wasn't he? That was,
yeah. He got an award or something. And I was walking through a door, and Christopher Lee was coming through the door as I was there. And I just naturally...
Was he floating?
Yeah, he was floating. And I just thought, oh, shit, it's Dracula. And I just naturally backed away out of the way and just let him come through. And he was just like, thank you. And it was awesome. Even though it was just him saying thank you. It was great.
Wow.
Right.
That's awesome.
Are you going to get on Twitch? Do you think?
Me? I'm on it now,
Job done. Yeah, I think...
I don't know. I've thought about it, but I don't know if I'm entertaining enough for folks to tune in.
Well, I'm not. I play guitar to compensate for that. Because we were talking about it when Ben was on, and he's thinking about doing just videos, playthrough videos and stuff. And So I think it'd be worth considering, or like maybe YouTube's or something like that. Or maybe you just tasting wine.
just passing out.
Yeah, like, oh, this new episode's great. He's just asleep.
See how many bottles it can take for Joel to fall asleep.
Yeah, that'd be great. Right. So what are your plans tomorrow? What have you got going on?
Tomorrow is Friday, I believe.
Yeah.
So I've got to do dad stuff in the morning.
Yeah.
Take my daughter to school and whatever else. I've got a bit of work to do for work, which is just an ongoing thing at the moment. Just people who don't know I working, yeah.
Are you back at work then?
Yeah. I'm not back at work. I'm kind of working from home now. So
right, okay.
I work sort of within alcohol industry for a brewery. So we're gearing up to get everything up and running again for when pubs reopen and stuff like that at the moment. So it's workload's increasing as we go along. And then probably a bit of playing in the afternoon. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, get everything done in the morning. And then while Eva's at school, I've got a place to myself. I can just play along some new Evile stuff, old Evile stuff, Anthrax stuff, try and play some Rush stuff.
What was I going to say? Yeah, is there like an official date when pubs are opening? Do we know that yet? I haven't been keeping up with the news.
I haven't watched news actually since I stopped watching news back in December because I'm still finding out what things going on through work and stuff. But yeah, you can go to a pub from the 12th of April to drink beer outside.
12th of April?
Yeah, as it stands now. So,
wow, okay.
And then middle of May, you can then start going into pubs. But we do a lot of bottled beers for supermarkets as well. So we're kind of getting all that up and running as well, in tandem with the pubs opening as well.
Cool. Where do you work? What's your brewery or pub?
The brewery I work for is called the Nook Brew House. It's based in Home Firth, and we are a tiny little brewery. We make things mainly for our own pub, but we do some bottling as well for Co-op and Morrison's and things like that. And it's quite a good job. I like beer, so I'm quite fortunate in that respect. I like beer and heavy metal, and I'm in a heavy metal band. And I make beer.
Are you just drunk at work all the time?
No, unfortunately not.
And Home Firth is actually famous for Last of the Summer Wine, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know how many people in the chat know of the program called Last of the Summer Wine. It's like I wouldn't say it's a cult program, but it's what would you call it?
It's like three old men acting like schoolboys in a village in Yorkshire.
That pretty much sums up English TV back then.
I don't think it's been on for a few years, but there's still, believe it or not, there's like an open top bus that goes around and takes you to all the filming locations.
Really?
Still, yeah.
There can't be anyone. There can't be anyone going on that bus now. There can't be.
Probably the ancestors of the cast, maybe. I don't know.
Ben just put in the chat, shite. There's a fish and chip place called Compos, isn't there? One of the characters from it. Yeah. There's
a cafe as well, Nora Batty's Wrinkled Stocking or something. Which was another one of the characters. So.
Well, they should have called it Nora Batty's Butties. Or Nora Butties. No, I don't know.
No. Nobody in Manchester had watched it.
No.
I don't do with butties.
Like, no, it's a muffin. Right. I think I've run out of questions. I'm not really an interviewer. I just do this for just a bit of fun. Let me just check if anyone's sent any more questions. If there's any more questions in the chat that we've missed, please put them up again. Just a bit of promotion again. We have a new album out on April 30th on Napalm Records called Hell Unleashed. We have 2 songs out, Hell Unleashed and Gore. The music videos are up on YouTube, and go and check them out. You get free UK shipping as well from that link in the chat.
Cool.
Ben has put, I had a mate who lived in Holmfirth that went to Blackpool on holiday, and him and his parents went on a mystery tour bus from Blackpool on like a random fun trip thing. It ended up taking them to summer wine country. From Blackpool.
Wow.
So they had to go all the way to Blackpool and drive back to Holmfirth. That's brilliant.
What a brilliant day out.
Joel, do you brew any ciders or just beer?
No, we just do beer at the moment. We traditional real ale, stouts, porters. We do some ad hoc stuff every now and then, but not ciders as of yet.
Something very generic. Question 1. Ben said he has the worst taste in music in Evile. Is this true, Olin Joel?
I think we've all got as bad taste in music. I think Ben just thinks everybody hates 80s AOR, and everybody secretly likes it. So Ben's just the most honest about his musical taste.
Yeah, I think that's about right. And I think a lot of people, as soon as they hear that someone likes Heart, they're just like, really? Like, I remember when Mike was in the band, I remember Mike used to take the piss out of Ben for liking Heart. I remember we played in somewhere in was it Germany? I can't remember. But Ben went to a record store before the gig and bought some either vinyls or CDs, and he came back to the van or bus, whatever it was, and said, "Oh, there's a record shop down there, Norway, that's right." And we went, "Oh, what did you get?" And he went, "Oh, I got Heart and stuff." And Mike was like, "Heart? Fuck, what the fuck?" I remember Mike just laughing at him buying Heart or something. But it was pretty funny. But Heart are great. You can't knock Heart, really. Well, Mike could, but you know.
Someone asked on the chat as well if I was doing the top 10 thing. I think, is that coming out tomorrow, mine?
I think so, yeah. I think Joel's top 10 is, yeah, yours is, yeah.
Yeah, I've done one anyway, so.
Yes, so that's everyone's out tomorrow then, isn't it? Everyone's top 10.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, Adam's the last one we got, yeah.
Yeah. I just got a thing today from our press to do a thing for Loudwire, which is the first thing we've ever done for Loudwire. It's just me playing like my favorite riffs or something. I've not properly read the email, but that could be pretty cool. Metal It Up. Can't wait to hear the thing. Oh, yes. Yeah, I can't wait for you to hear the thing either. I know we keep saying it, but it's so good. The new stuff, the new album. Just please, time, just move forward so you can all hear it.
I think the first question you asked me on this stream was, what's your favourite song of the new album? And I didn't say the thing, but it's the thing.
Have you changed your mind already?
Yeah, I've changed my mind just in the course of this stream.
Yeah. Dendrophilia, the best question for that is, can Joel count? Because this is a good point. My top 10 video, I think I only named 9. I think Ben only named 9 as well. Adam got 10, so we need to see if you got 10 as well.
We'll find out. I think I did, yeah. I actually had the physical copies with me, so I will have counted them before I showed them up. Everything.
That was my mistake. I only had 6 of the physical copies, and I'd only had maybe 2 hours of sleep. So I did the first 6, and then the next 4 were just, you know, I just didn't count very well. Oh, Ben put 11, apparently, James said. So I got 9, Adam got 10, Ben got 11.
So Spinal Tap, Ben, it just one more.
Yeah. My list goes to 11. Both. When you are ejected from Evile for extreme misconduct and you can't play with them anymore, who would you like to play with? What do you think? Any band?
I don't know. If you kicked me out, I think I'd do something completely different to what we're doing at the moment. Don't know who, but...
So if you left and like Megadeth said, "Oh, we need a bassist," would you do that?
No, tell them to call James Lomenzo back, because he was great.
Yeah, he was actually, yeah. I think for me, God, I don't know what I'd do. I don't think I would, if I'm honest. I'd just do solo stuff, and unless like Kirk Hammett broke his hand, or the Megadeth guitarist broke his hand. Who's playing for Megadeth? Kiko. If Kiko broke his hand, I'd do that. But beyond that, I don't think I'd do anything. This is a question for Ben, but it's interesting. Have you heard the Night Flight Orchestra? No. AOR band formed by Soilwork and Arch Enemy members. Never heard of them.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool. Annihilator cover band. That's basically Evile anyway. My voice is really starting to hurt now. I've had a cold for like 4 weeks or something, and no, I'm not doing good. Oh, right. I think... Oh, I didn't check Facebook. 1 second. Oh, yes, I did check Facebook.
Ben says, can he be Randy Rampage? Of course you can, Ben.
Ben, for anyone who doesn't know, Ben is actually a really good vocalist. Like,
awesome.
I think because Hell Unleashed, Ben wrote the lyrics for Hell Unleashed, and he sent over a demo of like the placement of the words and everything, and it was basically it was Randy Rampage. I think it wasn't belting it out, so it was kind of like just talked like, but it was like, I can't do Randy Rampage, but yeah, it was pretty cool. But also like proper singing. Ben can sing like Halford high and really good. Me and Ben used to work in the same video game shop, and we always used to put on Luca Turilli album, and he could just sing it all note for note, and he did the Nitro Fist thing. What's he called? What's the singer from Nitro called?
Jim Gillette.
Jim Gillette, that's it. Yeah.
Randy Rampage, someone's put.
Randy Rampage should be a wrestler and or a porn star. Oh. I forgot that Randy Rampage actually passed away not too long ago, which is sad.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
And he apparently influenced Duff McKagan quite heavily, which I didn't know. I can't remember where I saw it, but an interview with Duff McKagan cited Randy Rampage as getting him into bass and his style, because Randy was in a band called...
It was a punk band, wasn't it?
Yeah. Dead on Arrival.
Yeah.
DOA.
Right.
And I think Duff saw them when he was young, and it helped him get into bass, so that's pretty cool.
Cool.
Right. I think we're going to wrap up shortly, because I'm slowly dying. But if there's any more questions in the chat, please feel free to put them in, and Joel will attempt to answer them, because he's getting drunk. Is Hannah actually watching like in the chat? Because apparently
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I think Ziva was watching for a while, apparently.
She'll be in bed now.
Oh, okay.
School there tomorrow.
Favorite bass you own? Oh, that's a good question actually, because it ties in with you're actually. There was a question about why did you pick Fender basses, but you're no longer with Fender, are you?
I'm with Jackson now. Fender and Jackson have always kind of worked side by side.
Yeah.
So I had a fantastic bass for a number of years, the Aerodyne, but it's 11 years old now. It's been banged around a lot, so I've switched to Jackson, and I've got a Series X concert bass, and it's awesome. I haven't played it at a gig. I've just played it at home, but you know when you just sit down with it and it's like, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah,
it's just everything's like, great. So I've got one of them, and it's really retro looking. It's really cool. And then they're rebranding that bass, and I'm getting another one hopefully in sort of like May, June time as well. So I will have a couple of Jacksons to play with, and I'm really looking forward to playing them live. Really looking forward to it.
Nice. Also, just welcome to Bloodstock Fest, who are in the chat. Can I get a shout out for Bloodstock, please? They are. I would call Bloodstock our home festival. We see it as our home gig in the UK. We got signed from playing at Bloodstock in 2006, and just a great festival. And fingers crossed, it all goes ahead this year because we are playing on the Friday on the Sophie stage. Yeah, we really can't wait.
I don't know if you know this all, but I was at the first ever Bloodstock when it was at the Derby Assembly Rooms.
Really?
Yeah, and I played at the second one in the Darwin Suite with like an old band.
Wow.
They were like the second on the, and I think every year I've attended Bloodstock apart from 2 years. I missed the first open air one, but I've been to every one, pretty much since then. So.
Wow, no, I didn't know.
It's the best festival in the UK.
Yeah, it's the only festival I think that it stays mostly true to metal. Like, the downloads are great and all that, but you get some great metal on Bloodstock, which is what I like. Like the year King Diamond headlined, like you wouldn't see King Diamond headlining Download, would you? It was just so cool. Great festival. I remember today, we did an interview at maybe, I think it was 2009 Bloodstock, and the interview was behind some merch stands. So it was like the white, is it tarpaulin that they drape over the stands. And during the interview, Mike needed a wee. He needed to urinate. And just during the interview, he just turned around and started weeing on the back of this merch stand. It's waterproof, it wasn't going through. But even on the interview, you see it, the guy peep his head round the back like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Mike was just like, "I'm just taking a piss." I just remember that today. Right, I'm just going to check if there's any more questions. James G. I've tried to ask a lot. I hope the answer isn't confidential or anything, but which song has your favourite solo on the new album? Oh, I don't know. The first track, Paralyzed, I think is my favourite solo, but also The Thing. The solo in The Thing is not a conventional solo, and I can't really explain beyond you hearing it, but yeah, The Thing is an interesting one. It's unlike any other solo I've done. It's strange. Let's have a look.
The Pat Dudes asked me how I developed my chops in bass playing along to records or playing in bands. Mainly playing in bands, to be honest with you. One thing that I used to do when I was first learning, I used to have like an oak keyboard, and it's got them pre-set drum patterns on it, like that'll be labeled rock or bossa nova,
like a Casio thing.
Yeah. And I used to play or invent riffs to them, and then I turned tempo up and things like that. But definitely playing with a live drummer is brilliant. Yeah. Just having that connection with someone who's a good drummer, he's awesome, and I've always been fortunate enough to play with good drummers over the years.
I was going to make a joke then. I was going to be like, until you joined Evile, but no, Ben's great. Mike didn't really give two fucks about anything. No, he really didn't. He didn't at all. Have you guys seen much of Eliran Kantor artwork? Yes, Eliran did the Skull artwork, our fourth album. I think everyone in the chat knows that I'm not a fan of that artwork. It wasn't how it was supposed to be, in my opinion, but oh well. Right. If there's no more questions, I think we're going to wrap up. So last call for questions before we shut down. Joel, when playing a festival, do you prefer playing in a tent or an open air stage? That's a good question.
Both. I kind of enjoy the intimacy of a tent, being covered up and everything being a bit closer to you. there's been a couple of festivals where I have felt we've been buried by the stage. Remember that one we did in Czech Republic? And we were like, oh, Michael Weeka from Halloween came on while we were sound checking.
Yes, I've told that story.
But we were like miles away from each other, and I don't think we'd realised that we could actually set up on a big stage closer together.
Yeah.
We felt we had to be like, and I remember playing that gig and just being like, all's like half a mile over there, and it just seemed weird. So
I think at that time we didn't have wireless either, so we still had cables.
Yeah, I think I wired like 4 together just so I could run around.
That was Brutal Assault, apparently, Ben says.
It was the one where they made the Slivovitz on site, where we had a guided tour through the Spirit Factory.
Yeah, that's the one where Michael from Halloween came on stage, and I saw him and thought, you know what would be really cool? So I started playing the Dr. Steen riff from Halloween, and he just walked away. It's like, and he just went.
Totally emotionless.
Yeah. So, okay. Would you ever get a classic Ed Repka cover? No. I'm not a fan of Ed Repka. Like, it's cool for what he's done and everything, but it's not our style. It's too it's become too retro thrash. His art is I think it's kind of cornered into retro thrash now, and just not a fan of it really. Right. Keep asking questions, guys. Let's keep them from going. Pat, dude, thank you for the bits. Right, my kit didn't have proper heads on it, and I put every tom through in the first track. Yes, I remember that. Yep. Yeah. I remember the sound just being weird, and I looked over at you, Ben, and you weren't happy. Actually, I've got a question for you. Who is your favourite new thrash band?
I'm gonna go with Alien Weaponry from New Zealand. Okay. Someone I used to work with a couple of years ago mentioned them to me, and it was one of them. Do you know when someone's going on about a band all the time?
Yeah.
So you don't listen to them because they're being talked about too much.
Yeah.
I kind of went, whatever. And then one random day, 6-7 months ago, I went, oh, I'll check them out. And they're awesome, really, really good band. So, yeah, they get my vote.
Cool. I watched a live stream of theirs. Bipolar Dan in the chat got me a ticket for this live stream. I can't remember what the festival was. Really cool. But I think I need to listen to them more because you were saying with Rush, it hasn't clicked with me yet. Like I like it. I like what I hear, but it hasn't clicked. So I need it to click. I think mine.
I'll tell you another good one.
Yeah, go on.
A recent thrash album which I've got, which is it's not really recent, it's really old, but Mr. Bungle re-recorded the first demo of The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
With Dave Lombardo and Scott Ian, and I picked that up last year, and I don't think I played anything else for about 4 months. Absolutely love it. It's fucking amazing.
It's not like I knew Mr. Bungle sounded like. Cause I don't know their whole back catalogue, but it was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Right. This is the last call now because I have to go. I am dying. Yeah, Power Trip were great. I think my favorite ones. I think I really like Havoc, because Reese on lead guitar is just insane. And yeah, Power Trip are great. I hope they carry on. I really do. What did you both have for tea? I had pizza. What did you have, Joel?
I had a curry. We've been buying these like boxes of ingredients that are delivered to your house, and you make them. It's Gusto or something, and it was a cauliflower and lentil dal. Spiced with paprika. It was very nice indeed.
And by the way, for anyone wondering what is tea is the meal you have around 5 p.m. So in the north of England, it's called tea. And I have this argument with Natalie all the time. She calls it dinner, and I call it tea. But it's tea. It's not dinner. Do you have that argument, Joel? Or is Hannah?
Oh, no, but it's just tea in our house.
It's tea, right?
Tea time.
See, Yama says dinner. Freddie, dinner. Dougie, tea. Right, let's get a poll in the chat. Let's get a poll. Dinner versus tea. What do you call it? Before we go. Tea is in a cup. Yeah, I know. We call tea tea, but we also call tea tea.
Supper? No, that's too late.
No, supper's like 8:30. And Natalie's like, for fuck's sake, dinner. It's tea. Right, so someone should be putting a poll in the chat any minute, and we're going to settle it once and for all. So when the poll comes up...
Vote tea.
Yeah, vote tea. It's tea. Tea goes in your go. What? Tea goes in your go? Oh, in your gob. Okay. Right. Putting a poll in the chat. Where's this poll? I'm not seeing a poll yet. I'm sure I have some moderators in here. There we go. 5 p.m. afternoon main food. We've got a poll. Right, I'm going to vote mine. So everyone vote in that poll what you think it is called. Voted. Bloodstock. I grew up in North Wales and called it tea. Recently returned after 20 years calling it dinner. My girlfriend here calls it tea. Yeah. Let's go tea. Right, tea's winning. Okay.
Go team tea.
Team tea. But yeah, it is. I understand why it's so stupid. Dilia's gone. Thank you for the sub. Resubscribe for 7 months. Thank you so much. Woohoo. Yeah, I think tea's going to win that. Oh, no. Dinner's catching up. Hakumu, it should be at the top of your chat. If it's not, I'm sorry. Oh, and it's
it's a tie.
Oh my god. It's a draw. That couldn't be any more annoying. Tea 39%, dinner 39%, supper 22%.
So going forward, it's either tea or dinner, but don't call it supper.
Yeah. Natalie says it's called luncheon meat, not dinner meat. This argument is stupid. It's tea. Right. So, I think what, another poll? Oh, yeah, we've got another poll. Show no mercy. Oh. Dinner versus tea. It's brunch, not Brinner. Right. Yeah, I'm going to call it a night. So we'll let this poll finish, and then we will raid someone. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope you found this interesting. Is there anything you want to say, Joel, or maybe about the new album or Evile in general?
Yeah, just thank you, everybody who's sort of like checked it out and is enjoying what they're hearing. It's really nice to sort of like get feedback. Lots of people have been messaging me about the new material and stuff, and it's 97-98% positive, and it's really, really good to know after all hard work that's been put into it. Losing Matt, we were kind of not worried, but we were kind of not knowing what the future held and things like that. And it seems like that everybody who likes Evile is still on our side, and I hope we don't disappoint you when the album comes out. And I know we won't, because it's fucking awesome, and I think you'll all really, really enjoy it. And thanks for the support, and especially after 8 years of being away. I mean, that's amazing. It's really, really nice to know that there's folks still out there who like proper thrash and like having the tea. So vote tea.
Oh no, dinner won 8-6. Those two people who voted supper can go fuck themselves. No, I'm joking. Right. So, yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for watching, for asking questions. Thank you for all the subs and the new followers and the bits and all that stuff. Yeah. Last chance for any questions. I always do this. I always want to end and then think, oh, let's just do a bit longer. Let's just do a bit longer. Also, we have some merch out. I forgot to mention, this is a good time to mention. Yeah. We have, I think it's actually shipping tomorrow. All the new Evile merch from Plastic Head will be shipping tomorrow, or it's already shipped. So go to that link in the chat, bit.ly, Evile merch, click on there. We have t-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies. We have a coffee mug or a tea mug that you put your tea in, but not tea. And they're unfortunately white. They're office white. I wanted black because black's metal, but awesome. Right, thank you very much, guys. Can anyone let me know who is currently streaming so we can raid them? I don't have my browser up at the moment, just so I don't crash anything. So let me know who's streaming, who we can raid. Oh, Freddy80s has a question. Before we go on. This better not be a joke. Come on, Freddy. Oh, Bloodstock are streaming. Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's return the favor and raid Bloodstock after this. How many posters do you have on your wall? Well, mine has 10, and then one canvas of Cthulhu and a Master of Puppets flag. Oh, I know. Freddy80s is just trying to make us stay now. I know what he's doing. Don't raid us. It's just Alan scratching his ass playing Call of Duty. Should we all raid Bloodstock and just tell Al to stop scratching his ass? I swear I didn't.
Just about the bomb scare in New York City.
Yes, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, you tell it.
We were playing the Nokia Theatre, and there were a van outside, I believe, and it was found to have suspicious equipment in it. And they shut the whole of New York down, and it was like national news. And we were in the venue, and as long as everybody stayed in the venue, the gig could go on, and it was so surreal. And then after the gig had finished, I think it was Overkill that we were playing with. They opened up so we could go outside and have some fresh air, but you couldn't leave the area. And Christopher Walken was in a play in the theatre behind us. And I was smoked at the time, and I went out for a cigarette, and Christopher Walken was in the same passageway as me at the back of his theatre from whatever he was doing, and we were there. But we couldn't leave New York for like 3 hours after the show, and just drank and smoked and chilled out. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember they locked down all of New York, and yeah, Ben says, I had to go upstairs to do a drum interview and meet the interviewer, and Times Square was like a ghost town. I think, Ben, was it me and you who went to McDonald's, or was it me and you, Joel? Because we asked the police at the entrance, we were like, we're in the band and we haven't eaten and we haven't got any food here, so we need to go to McDonald's. And they said, yeah, go on then. And they let us walk to McDonald's when New York was deserted. So it was Times Square with 0 people in it. And it was so bizarre. It was like a zombie film. It was great.
With no zombies.
Yeah, with no zombies. Shit zombie film. Right. Let's raid Bloodstock and tell Alan to stop scratching his ass. Right. Can someone else do the raid for me, because my keyboard is being slow and it's not loading what I'm typing. Brilliant, thank you. Right, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being here. Let's all say hi to Bloodstock Fest. Give them a follow as well, because they're new to streaming. And yeah, give them all your support. Thank you, guys.